There we go. Espresso. How we doing, guys? Ben here from Robert Ben Transport. We have had an eventful 24 hours. So our long wheelbase had a coolant problem. The engine management light came on when one of our drivers, Dale, was driving up, and we had a little look under the bonnet and the coolant was completely empty. He'd done his van checks before he'd set off and it was at the max line. So we knew something was going on there. Topped the coolant up, took it down to our mechanic, who identified a leak in the coolant pipe as it was completely empty again by the time we got to the garage. It was rubbing against the fuel pipe, he thinks, and that's created the hole. And then we also had a small hole in the boost pipe, hence the engine management light coming on. So he done the repairs for us on Wednesday night, and the van was good to go. We got a job done Fairmont to Stone on Thursday morning, and Big Dale then phoned and said, "We've got another problem, a big problem, in the fast lane of the M74, just past Wishaw," and the engine made a loud bang, completely cut out. Luckily, Big Dale got into the hard shoulder safely, and she obviously opened the bonnet and seen lots of smoke and oil absolutely everywhere. Catastrophic. As soon as he sent me the video, you know, I knew straight away that engine is done. I don't know much about mechanics, but it didn't look good. Sent the video to our mechanic and he said the same. I think your engine's gone. Could be the head gasket, but we really need to figure out why that oil is everywhere, and the coolant again was empty. So I'm thinking, it's been in the garage yesterday, it's had a repair. Has that caused a problem? So the way he repaired it is the coolant hose had a hole in it, and he put in metal and then basically U-clipped it and tie wrapped it instead of replacing the pipe to try and do as a turn and save a bit of money. I'm thinking that's blown out, coolant's empty. Has that pressure or the problem with the coolant not going to the engine blew it up? He said it's very unlikely, that it's two completely separate systems. We need to get the van back and check it. Called the RAC breakdown. They took 7 hours. We told them the size of van. It was a long wheelbase, Ford Transit 350, and they sent a vehicle out that wasn't able to tow the van. And to me, that's all about RAC just ticking a box and meeting their call out times. So he said, you need a lorry. So Big Dale, unfortunately, was stuck at the roadside for 7 hours on the motorway until RAC came and recovered them. We then got the van dropped off at a garage in East Kilbride, 15 minutes away from the breakdown. And at a few different mechanics looking at it. The mechanic that worked on it the day before, he came round after 5 and had a look as well. Nobody knows the cause. One guy said maybe the head gasket had a small crack and water was getting out and the whole cooling system's failed in the engine. It was a ticking time bomb maybe. The repair apparently was a good repair. That was still intact, the metal in that pipe. But the coolant was obviously empty. Oil everywhere, but no obvious hole in the engine. So something's happened inside. Unfortunately, that engine is now dead. We were selling the van on Tuesday. We were looking at upgrading the size of vehicle up to a Luton, which is better for our furniture deliveries. And we had a buyer on Tuesday for £8,000. And now, unfortunately, that's out the window. And we're going to have to look at getting a reconditioned engine, fork out, I don't know, £3,000 upwards to get that done and get the van back on the road. The other side of that was the van was loaded with the goods, so we had to phone the shipper, make the shipper aware of what's happened, it was broken down and we're waiting to get recovered. Couldn't have dealt with anyone better about this. The guy was brand new. He said, we've got vans ourselves, this stuff happens, what's the plan? I says, well, we can only get one drop off in the recovery, so we can't take it back to our unit where we've got a forklift. I'll have to get it dropped off to the garage. Called the garage and they said there was a guy 2 or 3 buildings up that could help us out with a forklift if we gave him a little cash in hand payment. The guy said, right, that's fine, as long as we can get that loaded in the morning and get the delivery done on Friday, that's the best we can do. This morning's came, the forklift driver, a couple of doors up, can't get here till 11 o'clock, which would make me too late to do the delivery before they finish up on Friday. I'm going to Stone. So I drove around the industrial estate and luckily there was a timber yard. Peter Kane in East Kilbride, shout out to you for letting your forklift driver drive through the industrial estate and get the machine transported into our other van. Right lads, we've got a forklift. The big man's travelled about 2 miles. And I am now taking that down. I gave the guy 30 quid cash. He was happy enough. I'm happy just to get this job done. And we're on the road. And that's it. We figure out where we go from here with the long wheelbase. These things happen in life. It's a bit of a kick in the nuts, obviously. We went from getting 8 grand cash to paying out money. It is what it is, you know what I mean? As bad as it is, it could always be worse. So, we'll get the job done. I don't know if you guys have any similar problems in the past. Maybe you've got some good advice about what we should do. Maybe you've got some opinions on what's happened, because I really don't know. The mechanic that we use to do the repairs is a friend. He's a family friend. He works for a garage, but he works on our 3 vans outside his business that he works for. So it's not like he's going to have the insurance and stuff, I guess, to if he botched a repair to replace one of the vehicles, which obviously isn't really my problem. It's something that I would have to brought up with him, but I've had it confirmed off another 3 mechanics that it's not his fault. So there's no blame going towards him. It is what it is. But you know, maybe you guys have seen this before. You probably know more than me about engines. Let's just keep the wheels turning, get this week closed off, and we'll go again next week.